Hi guys, let's take a look at some basic poetry terminology. Okay, so I'm going to start from basics just because not everyone knows all the terminology and I just want you to know everything. So obviously pause and take down what you don't know. Okay, so gedigte, that is the Afrikaans word for poems, and they consist of strofes, which is stanzas, so like paragraphs but in a poem. Okay, strofes or stanzas, they are like paragraphs and they consist of versreels. Versreels is verse lines. So those are basically just the sentences in each poem, okay? Each poem has a titel, which is a title. It always has a name, okay? This is the name of the poem and it might also have a subtitle. For instance, if it was dedicated to someone, it might be a subtitle, or it might have a bit more of a title just giving us more information about the poem or who it's dedicated to or what it's about. Okay, the person that wrote the poem will also be indicated and we call that person die dichter. Okay, so the poet. The dichter is not necessarily the speaker in the poem, okay? Speaker is spreker. We'll go into that a little bit more. Each poem also has a thema, which is a theme, and it has a stemming, which is a tone. So that's basically the speaker's attitude towards whatever's being discussed. Okay, die spreker or the speaker could be eerstepersoonsverteller or ek-verteller, which just means first person speaker. It could also be derdepersoonsverteller, which is a third person speaker. Okay, the difference is that a first person speaker or eerstepersoonsverteller is a more personal experience in the poem, so it's first person, we're getting first-hand information, whereas a derdepersoonsverteller is less personal, minder persoonlik, and that is someone telling someone else's story or the way they see something. Okay, so we look at the pronouns to help us. Words like ek, my, ons, julle, those are first person pronouns. That's direct speech. Okay, so if we see those, it means that it's a first person speaker. Okay, and then if we see words that are third person like say, hey, hulle, then that would be derdepersoonsverteller. Okay, this is not always, it's just generally. Okay, it might be a little bit more advanced, but this is just a guideline. Okay, so is the person telling you their own story directly? That would be eerstepersoonsverteller. Or are they telling someone else's story? Then that would be derdepersoonsverteller. Okay, strofes, there are names for strofes, okay, based on how many lines they have. So we have different types of stanzas or strofes, and based on the amount of lines, they get different names. So 2 lines would be a couplet, 3 lines is a terchin, 4 lines is a quatrain, 5 lines is a quintrain, that's not a frequently seen one, 6 lines is a sestet, 7 lines is a septet. I don't think I see that one often either. And then 8 lines is an octave. Okay, an octave, which is like octave, right? Oct8. Okay, typerym, we have full rym. So beginrym is the first words of the verse rhyme. Binnerym means rhyming syllables within its own line. Okay, that's a line that has rhyming in it. Okay, and then eindrym is the normal rhyme that we always see where the end of the line rhymes with the next line. Okay, rymschemas and rympatroon. You should know the difference between what a rympatroon is and what a rymschema is. Rympatroon is the name of the rhyme scheme, and rymschema is like AABB or ABCB, whatever. Paarrym is AABB. Kruisrym is ABAB. Omarmde rym is ABBA, which is ABBA. So you can think of the little arm of A going over the B's to get to the other A that it rhymes with. Gebroken rym, this is broken, is ABCB. Okay, slagrym, not often seen, is AAAA. And then vrije vers, which we often see, especially as you get to the older grades, is A, B, C, D. So there's no fixed rhyme scheme. That's all you have to remember for that one. There's no fixed rhyme scheme. Okay, halfrym, only the consonants or the vowels rhyme with each other within a sentence, okay, within a line. So it's rhyme within a line. Okay, so alliteratie is an example, or is halframe, and so is assonantie. So alliteratie is repetition of consonants at the beginning of words or syllables. So deur die donker dae van December. I gave an excessive example. Usually you would see 2 or 3 D's or whatever's being emphasized. Okay, and then assonantie is repetition of the same vowel. So it's the same vowel sound. Okay, it doesn't have to be the exact same letters. So May and Haze, A and A, they're spelt differently, but it's the sound that matters, okay, not the Y or the U or the I. Okay, so this could be short little A's, so like as, das, mas, or it could be longer sounds that we usually would use to slow down the tempo or the rhythm or the speed of the poem, okay? So like mas, bas, glas sounds, it slows us down versus bas, mas, das. That's quick, short sounds, okay? And the functie of alliteratie, so the function of alliteration, it always serves a purpose, okay? So alliteration is the repetition of consonants. It always serves a purpose. It can be used to create atmosphere. It can be used to control the tempo or the speed or the rhythm of the poem. It emphasizes the words with the alliteration, okay? And it can connect a part of the poem to a different type of, part of the poem. Okay, especially in like vrije vers where there isn't a rhyme scheme to connect the poem. Okay, the functie of assonantie. So the function of assonance. The function of assonance, the repetition of vowels, it always serves a purpose as well. It helps to create the tone of the poem. It helps to control the tempo, the speed. As I just gave you an example, if we use like double or twin vowels, it slows down the speed. Okay, and it can also be used as klanknabotsing, so onomatopoeia. In jambement, this we often see in vrije vers, okay? So it's a technique we use when we start a sentence in one line and we finish it in another. It could finish in the next line, it could finish 5 lines from where it starts. It just means that it flows over into the next lines. As I mentioned, we often see it in vrije vers. We usually leave out leestekens, so punctuation, because we use punctuation to tell us where to stop, right? Or where to pause. So if we don't have punctuation, you'll just keep reading, and that also speeds up the way we read. Okay, typography. Typography is the way that a poem looks on paper. It's how it is printed or how it's typed. Okay, it's the external build of the poem. Types of letters used, the length of lines, if we used italics, if we used uppercase or lowercase letters, the punctuation, and the way the lines are placed on the paper. That is all called typography. Okay, leestekens. So this is some punctuation basics, just stuff that we see often and that we use. So ... is an ellipse. Okay, it's used to leave out words for the reader to finish the thought, and it also indicates time passing. Elisie is leaving out a word or a sound for rhyming purposes. So instead of saying ek het, we'd say act. Okay, we might do it just to make it a shorter read for us. Aandagsstreep, so a hyphen, is used to emphasize the line that follows. Dubbelpunt, okay, colon, means an explanation will follow. Often you'd need to know an explanation of what. Okay, that would be based on the poem. A vraagteken is a rhetorische vraag generally, because who would answer if you asked a question in poetry? Uitroepteken emphasizes thoughts, or it gives us a sense of urgency. So dringendheid is urgency. Okay, a comma. This could be parenthese, it slows the tempo, or it could be additional thoughts. And hakies are brackets, which is parenthese, it gives extra information. I would pause at this point and take notes. Okay, digsoorte or types of poems. These are just some common examples. Vrije vers is just like a free verse. Sonnet, there's Italiaanse and Engelse. Verhalende gedichte like ballade or heldendig, which is about a hero. Epische gedig is also about a hero. Monologue, so a monologue, and then allegorie. And then we've got lyrische gedichte, like lyrical poems, like a sonnet or an ode, or elegie or treurshang or haiku. A limerick, and And then we've got parody and spottig. So the most you'd probably see would probably be a sonnet or a vrije vers. Lots of vrije vers because it's a more, what's the word? A more modern type of poetry. You'd see that more. Something important is that you'll always be told what type of poem you have. So in your notes, your poem, they'll tell you what type of poem it is. So definitely poetry is a study section. And it's like an open book test if you've studied. Okay, then some beeldspraak, just the 3 beeldspraak that we generally deal with. Metafoor, vergelijking, and personificasie. A metaphor is when we compare something to something else without using soos, net soos, or nes. For example, hy is 'n vark, so he's a pig. That's just a metaphor because he's not literally a pig, okay? It's figurative. Vergelijking is a comparison, but we use the word soos, net soos, or nes. For example, hy eet soos 'n vark. So look at the difference between hy eet soos 'n vark and hy is 'n vark, okay? One's a metaphor, one is a vergelijking, which is a simile. And then we've got personificasie, which is when we give a human characteristic to a non-human. So basically, die son glimlag, or die aand stuur sy soldate. The evening can't send anything, so therefore it's personification. Cool, these are some basics. You definitely need to know these.